This is it. Sometimes I just take it out to look at it. But yeah, so this is what I was watching the OT on. Plugged that in, and I have been yapping about Star Wars ever since. Yeah, Luke Skywalker is so I say I love Luke Skywalker, but I can't not say that I love Ahsoka. When the logo is on something, I'll be seated.
Hey guys, it's your Jedi Lex, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest. I have Will from the Will of the Force channel, as well as the Determined Focus podcast. So, how are you doing today?
Hey, appreciate you having me on. This is gonna be
Absolutely.
fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a very long time. I'm a huge fan of your content. I was following you even before, I forget what your username was prior, but before you were Will of the
Ooh,
Force, before you started Determined Focus. So, been a big fan of
before the
yours for a
dark
while.
times.
Well, you were even doing your podcast with Tony too, Dark Side Secrets, and I love that podcast too.
Yeah,
Huge throwback. So,
that was
for sure.
that was a long time ago.
Yes, many moons ago,
Yeah, exactly.
perhaps. But for people who may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, a little bit about your podcast, things like that?
Yeah, I am one half of the Determined Focus podcast with my buddy Grayson, who goes by at Mortis FM, who has been a guest on this show, correct?
He has. I had him on a
Yes.
few episodes ago.
Yep. Yeah, one half of Determined Focus. We do a live show every Monday and then sporadically do interviews and other episodes with other guests, whether it's a Star Wars creator or somebody who has been in Star Wars, just people who we can yap about Star Wars with for anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Yep, that's Determined Focus. Go follow that on Instagram. Go follow Grayson on Instagram. And if you need one more person yapping about Star Wars on the internet, I am Will of the Force pretty much everywhere. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, you and Grayson. I think I had Grayson on before he was a part of the Determined Focus podcast, though. But you guys are two powerhouses within the Star Wars community.
I don't know about Powerhouse, but yeah, I mean, I've been talking to Grayson about doing something like this for a long time. Determined Focus was a different thing before it became the podcast that it is now. And then I thought of a name. It's been a very slow burn, but right around Star Wars celebration, it was actually the Monday after Star Wars Celebration we started, and it's yeah, what 30 episodes as of tomorrow, I think. So yeah, we're going.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So my first question is, what kind of was your introduction to Star Wars? Like, how did you get introduced to it? What made you really fall in love with the franchise?
Easy. It's I was like 3 or 4 years old. My grandmother was very kind enough to without her being a Star Wars fan. Nobody in my family is really Star Wars fans. Like there's some occasional who ask me stuff and they'll watch the shows and they'll be like, "Oh, but nobody's like really into it." Like obviously not like us, but like nobody's like really like going to the movies and going to see it like uh Star Wars fans, like if you were to call somebody a Star Wars fan, I would not call anybody in my family a Star Wars fan. But for some reason, my grandmother bought the special editions, the collector's box for the special edition. So it was the VHS tapes for the OT, and then it came with like a metal plaque, and then it came with a poster for each one. There's a behind the scenes VHS box in there. Um, Actually, I forgot I put it over here. This is it. Sometimes I just take it out to look at it. But yeah, so this is what I was watching the OT on. Like I said, my grandmother, who is not a Star Wars fan, for some reason had this upstairs at their house. So when I would go over to my grandparents, for a very long time until my sister was born, I was the only grandchild for a pretty large family. And they'd just be like, "Okay, go upstairs." And when I would go upstairs with my very hyper large child self, when I need to go run around, they'd send me upstairs, and I'd found one of these VHS tapes. Return of the Jedi was the first one that I watched. I remember I picked it out because the cover is the coolest out of the special editions. In my opinion, they're all great artwork, but with the green in the back, the other two are kind of the same, and then the green really sticks out for a kid. Plug that in, and I have been yapping about Star Wars ever since.
Gotcha. No, that's a pretty cool box to just have, even just as like a non Star Wars fan. I have my dad has the original, just like the three box that has Vader on the outside. He doesn't have like that
Yeah, those
special
are
one.
like I think
Yeah.
those are over there on the third shelf right there. Oh no, they're up there. Sorry. I was like, I
It's
know I have the gold and I have the silver as well, but this is like this was just sitting in my grandmother's garage like what like 15 years ago, and I was like, can I have this? She was like, sure, I get. And I was like, cool. So the VHS tapes don't even work in here, but all the collector's stuff are like in there. I drove those tapes into the ground.
Yeah, I'm still trying to convince my dad to hand over the original ones, but it's I mean, it's not that big of a deal. There's no way that I could even watch them. Like I don't have a
Yeah.
way to watch a VHS anyways,
Yep.
but like it's just so nostalgic to have in your collection. So,
Yeah.
one day I'll get them. We'll see.
Absolutely. Having the thing that you watch Star Wars on for the first time, because like you talk about people from the like who were OT kids, and they're like, "Oh, I was there in 1977. I was in the theater," but like they didn't have anything like truly physical other than like merchandise. But
Mhm.
like to actually have the thing from our digital age of like VHS tapes and DVDs and Blu-rays, and then just like hard discs and stuff to actually have the thing that you watched it on for the first time is extremely cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think you've mentioned this prior, but I know that you're a big Return of the Jedi fan. Does that
Yeah.
happen to be your favorite movie?
Yeah, that's my number one Star Wars movie. That's it's not even close compared to everything else. I love look, my what there's 12 films counting Solo and Clone Wars. My number one is always Return of the Jedi. That back 11 flip around all the time, depending on the day. But number one's
Gotcha.
always Return of the Jedi for me.
Yeah, and then I think it's pretty easy to say that Luke Skywalker is your favorite. I know you've got his saber tatted on your forearm.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is so. I say I love Luke Skywalker, but I can't not say that I love Ahsoka. I think truly, if you were to flip a coin of which one is my favorite, they're two sides of the same coin for me. Like they truly are. Those are my top two. I can't decide. I was talking to Grayson and Cole from Mortis FM for one of their podcast episodes about Jedi, and we got down to why Ahsoka. We were ranking the top 5 true Jedi's, and I had said Ahsoka, and I went on this like 15-minute rant of why I thought it was Ahsoka, and then right after that, Cole was saying something about Luke, and I was like, yeah, it's probably Luke. Like I am so easy to flip between those two at any point.
Yeah, I'm very much between Anakin and Ahsoka. Like
Yeah.
Anakin was the first person that I gravitated to when I watched Star Wars because my dad actually showed me the prequels first because
Yeah.
we had those on DVD, and then he brought out the VHSs, and I was like, at first when I was younger, I was kind of like, what is this? Like this is so
Yeah.
old. Like this is whatever. I do have a much greater appreciation for the original trilogy nowadays, especially getting to see it like in theaters and things like
Yeah.
that. Like that's totally revived my love for it, but. I was always a prequel kid. That was what my dad showed me first. I always gravitated toward Anakin. And then when I got older, they released the Clone Wars, and I fell in love with Ahsoka. Like
Yeah.
seeing a young female Jedi, kind of make her way, go through the trials and tribulations that she did. Like I loved Ahsoka, so I can't ever pick between Anakin and Ahsoka. But I get what you're saying. It depends on the day, the mood, but
Yeah.
like they're too good to choose between. So
Yeah.
totally get it.
Honestly, like if I was to watch a Luke Skywalker scene, I'd be like, Luke's the goat. If I was to watch an Ahsoka scene, I'd be like, Ahsoka's the goat. Like it goes between those two all the times. And I mean, like growing up as a prequels kid, I will always say, and look, no disrespect to any other era of Star Wars, but like growing up in that time of being a prequels kid is, in my opinion, the best time to have been a Star Wars fan. Look, being a Star Wars fan is always great, but like the nostalgia that people have for that time, especially as kids, like I think the biggest thing, yeah, the prequels were coming out and those were so much fun, but like while the prequels were coming out, the original trilogy was just as celebrated. Like when Revenge of the Sith was coming out, you go to Burger King and you were getting OT toys at the same time as you were getting Revenge of the Sith stuff. So like you get a Luke Skywalker or a Chewbacca or a Leia at the same time you're getting a Padme or a Rex or a Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like they were all around the exact same time, and then obviously with the Clone Wars, it just doubled everything down. And I mean, truly, though, like 1999 to like 20, I wouldn't call myself a Rebels kid because I wasn't really a kid at that point when I was watching. I mean, I was in high school, but like I would say like that like 1999 to like 2010. I think that decade is like will go down in history as the best time to have been a Star Wars kid.
No, it was 100% peak, and I always look forward to, like, I would always ask my parents, I'd be like, "We have to go to, like, McDonald's or whatever it
Yeah.
is, we gotta go get the toys, like, we gotta get the Happy Meal and just ride it out," but that was definitely, like, a significant time period, I think, just for Star Wars in general, like, celebrating OT, having the prequels out, and just enjoying that, all the collectibles that were coming out, like, even going to Toys R Us, like, I know
Oh
we
my
don't really have
god.
those anymore, but, like, that was one of my favorite things, just to go there and see all the different stuff that they had. I know that we had, like, the little lightsabers and things like that, like, it was a great time for sure.
Was the best time to be a kid. There will be I truly I would love for there to be another time like when I have kids, I'm like, "Man, I really hope it's as cool as it was for the way I was when I was a kid of like Lego had just signed their deal with Star Wars and all
Mhm.
the toy like the merchandise was everywhere like and there were midnight releases for stuff. People were showing up at Toys R Us at 12:01 a.m. Like it was just it's not that way anymore because I mean it's not really stores like that anymore, but like I hope it's that energetic. And I mean, when it was around the time of the Force Awakens, that electricity was definitely there. But like that 10-year period of Star Wars was just like even when people were like, "Oh yeah, Revenge of the Sith came out, Star Wars is done." Like, no, it wasn't. We got the Clone Wars, we got the Force Unleashed, we got a million games. Like it was not done. It was never done. So yeah, best time.
Yeah, I think Star Wars I think that's a good thing about it. I don't think Star Wars will ever be done, but I do want to see new projects. Like I want like I don't even know what they would do as the next like big trilogy because I know that they do like they do standalone movies like we're getting Starfighter and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
if we were to get another trilogy, I mean, I would love to see the Heir to the Empire trilogy kind of make its way to the big
yeah.
screen, but I don't know how likely that is.
Yeah, I mean stuff like that. It's as we get farther away from Rise of Skywalker, I think it's tough to look back at like the era of post Return of the Jedi with anything other than like Ahsoka and Mando in mind, which I love. I am so stoked for Ahsoka season 2. Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars show. Um I I love that show. And I love the character and I love the writing, but like truthfully, whenever it comes down to like that time after Return of the Jedi, I always say if I had to pick, I'd go animation. But if it's a movie, I would say kind of what they're doing with Starfighter or the other stuff that's lined up of like kind of just one shot stuff of uh like Starfighter, and then there's that Dawn of the Jedi movie. However, there is that the Simon Kinberg trilogy that's supposed to be getting made that's also involving Ray. So there's a lot on the table right now. Look, I'll be excited for any Star Wars when the logo is on something, I'll be seated.
Absolutely. I That was going to be my next question is what was your favorite show, but you answered that. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see like I'm very excited for Ahsoka season 2 and they kind of were teasing some things at Celebration, but what are your kind
Yeah.
of hopes for season 2? Like I really personally am hoping that they do explore the Mortis arc maybe a little bit more, which I think
Right.
is going to happen. I think that's a given, but I'm interested to see how they're going to go about it, especially with Balin and possibly I've seen the rumors about Abeloth. I don't know how like true that is, but I am excited to see them explore like the Mortis arc a little bit better. What are your hopes for season 2?
My number one hope is that Dave Filoni just gets to throw on screen everything that he has been doodling on napkins for the last 15 years. Like I am so excited for that show. That first season was Grayson and I both kind of have the same opinion on Ahsoka season one, where like you're watching it and you're like, I think this was made specifically for me. Like you're watching it and you're like, everything that is happening is like exactly if I wanted something to happen in Star Wars outside of like Luke Skywalker showing up and like Jedi Leia. Those are the two that I always say. But that first season was everything that I wanted it to be and hoped it would be. And this second season, my favorite part about Ahsoka is that it explores the, as Sam Witwer would say, which I can't go and on anything without mentioning Sam Witwer, so I apologize for everybody who watches Determined Focus. We have a button for anytime Sam Witwer is mentioned because it's literally impossible for us not to. But for that, as Sam Witwer would say, a time of knights and dragons, and that's him describing Maul Shadow Lord, but that's kind of where Ahsoka dives into being this alternate galaxy and everything kind of feeling medieval, but also Lord of the Rings and like all of Dave Filoni's concept art being Ahsoka like drawn right next to Gandalf and like that I love that Star Wars has so many genres, whether it's Western, whether it's samurai, or whether it's like that fantasy. I mean, there's a million subgenres in there as well. But like anytime it falls into that like fantasy or samurai, which is pretty much all of Ahsoka season one, that's I'm sold. So all I can hope for with season two is that it's just 100% more of that. And whatever they end up doing, I if I was a betting man, I would bet on that I'm going to love it just as much.
Yeah, I think I was already looking forward to Ahsoka season one, but I think it like exceeded my expectations. Like there was things in there that I didn't think we were ever gonna get, like at least in live action, as far as like the
Yeah.
world between worlds, getting the Clone Wars flashbacks. Like I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they explore more of that in season two, like even maybe bringing Ewan back and having Obi-Wan in his Clone Wars armor. Like that could be crazy, but Ahsoka season one 100% exceeded my expectations. Like it gave us so much and I loved it. Like I wish at the time I was doing reaction videos because I think it would have been priceless to see. Like I was ecstatic. Like it was probably some of the best stuff that I've watched in a very long time. Like
Yeah.
hands down.
It that time period too, that's like right before I started making content of or well, I started making content right before Ahsoka season one came out. And that was like I hadn't even shown my face up until like I think like the month before Ahsoka came out. So like I was just a faceless like Lego Star Wars creator. So like being able to be like, hey, like let's take this step, and then Ahsoka being that first show. Like I've got the poster on the wall over there. I've got the comic cover with the Takashi cover right there from Ahsoka. Like it's I love that show so much. I've got I don't have an Ahsoka tattoo per se. However, I do have the 332nd that helmet right there. The 332nd helmet from the end of Clone Wars season 7 with Vader in the T visor that's like in the snow. I've got that tattooed on my thigh. So like yeah, anything Ahsoka or Luke. If Luke pops up in Ahsoka season 2, which like I doubt, I'm not holding my breath for it, but like if that happens, I'm you bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be in tears the whole time.
Well, I mean, you never know. They did show up together at some point, so I'm not going to count it out. I'm not going to count it out. I'm not expecting it, but it would be a pleasant surprise to say the
Yeah.
least.
I mean, I'm such a dork that like when 3PO shows up, I'm in tears, and then he talks about being sent by Leia, and like we don't even hear anything about Leia, but like Leia's theme starts to play, which is my favorite theme in Star Wars outside of Yoda's theme. Those two are my back to back, but like that playing and like anything Leia, I am cooked, dude. I'm immediately in tears. So
Gotcha. Well, before I pull up the pictures of your collection, my last question is we have a lot of anticipated projects that are coming up in the future, especially for 2026. I mean, there are a few things left still for this year, like the Rebuild the Galaxy as well as Visions. But what is your most anticipated project of the ones that were kind of announced at Celebration, whether it's Starfighter, Maul Shadow Lord, the Mando and Grogu movie that's supposed to be hitting theaters, which is very exciting? What are your thoughts?
oh, so coming out, you mean as of next year? Or
Yeah.
well, I guess
Well,
Starfighter's
any of the future
2027.
projects.
Yeah, so Rebuild the Galaxy is next week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, which, like I said, I started out as a Lego creator, which Lego is my lifeblood when it comes to Star Wars. Whenever I think of, I say I've said this a million times, but like, so people are going to think I'm a broken record. But like, when I think of Star Wars, if like somebody is asking me trivia or like, hey, what happens, blah 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 blah, 9 times out of 10, my Rolodex of like remembering the movies is in Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga cutscenes. So like, I am seeing what they're doing, which is like, it's not the movie at all, but it like kind of is the movie, but it's also funny. That's how I'm remembering Star Wars, is from those cutscenes. But yeah, I'm stoked for Rebuild the Galaxy. That's going to be a ton of fun. I love how much fun they're having with Rebuild the Galaxy, because it truly is like, as somebody who is such a big fan of Lego and Star Wars, which is two separate things, and then being a fan of Lego Star Wars, that third thing, that they're having so much fun with it on screen, of like Jackson the Rabbit coming back from this comics in the 70s, like Maul also being Lando, but like Ahsoka being a brickhead the whole time. Like, I love when they get weird with stuff, and I've always been a big fan of the Star Wars parodies. So like the Family Guy stuff, Spaceballs, like uh, Robot Chicken, obviously, like that kind of stuff is what I grew up on. So that they're doing that with a Lego show, I can't wait for that. And then honestly, I know I yapped about it a ton, but like obviously Ahsoka season 2, I won't say that again. But Maul Shadow Lord, man, dude, an animated series just about Maul, and it's Maul at the helm, and it's a Maul show. Like, I am so, dude, that's my favorite villain in Star Wars, is Maul. So like, I'm getting a Maul show and an Ahsoka show next year. I can't wait. And on top of that, it's back in theaters with Mando and Grogu. It's going to be a fun year next year for Star Wars. So I can't wait. Oh, and I forgot Visions, which we're getting a lot of the returning stories from Vision season 1, like the Ronin, who I am, uh, like I said about the samurai stuff, I am such a dork when it comes to that character specifically. So the more Ronin we get, the better.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the same reasons about Rebuild the Galaxy. I even like took Friday off, or I like didn't schedule myself Friday so I could just specifically watch it and like record
Nice.
my reactions and do all that. Because as you can tell, like even growing up, Lego was my thing. Lego has become my thing again. Like I
Yeah.
love seeing that stuff, and it's just so fun to like kind of watch the fun that they have making it, and then getting
Yeah.
to watch it. Like it is a good time, as we were saying. And also just getting the Ronin back. Like I did Taekwondo when I was younger, so I'm very
Cool.
much all about like the samurai, like that culture. That's why I loved the fact that it was in Japan this year.
Right.
Like getting to go overseas and like see all of that, being immersed in that culture was awesome. And
Yeah.
I've been dying for them to give us more Ronin content, and we're finally getting it. So that's
Yep.
very exciting. But also just Maul Shadow Lord is very exciting because as you were saying, Sam, you can't go a conversation in Star Wars without mentioning him, but like having him and Filoni really kind of mastermind, like it's their brainchild, it kind of
Right.
feels like. So I know it's going to be good. And then just some of the stuff that we got to see and like him coming out, like with the announcement of it and everything, like I'm very excited about that. But I'm also
Yeah.
excited to just be back in theaters watching Star Wars because I don't think we've gotten, I mean, aside from like the re releases of like, the anniversaries and stuff like that, we haven't gotten new Star Wars in theaters, I think, since 2019, right?
Yeah. Since Rise of Skywalker, since right after Endgame, we have not
So
had new Star Wars in theaters.
it's going to be very exciting to kind of
Yeah.
be back to watch new Star Wars on the big screen. So I think the end of this year going into next year, it's peak. Like it's going to be so good. We're
It's
going
going
to
to
be
be so
eating.
much fun. And I am excited that all of this is happening, and it's not, well, I'm not necessarily excited for it, but I do like that next year there isn't a celebration, because all of that going on and having a celebration is like, that's so much to do. And like, I've never been to a celebration before. So 2027 is going to be my first celebration in LA. But I think next year is going to be a blast. It's also like, selfishly, as somebody who like makes Star Wars a hobby and also like kind of a work thing, I'm very excited that I'm not going to be traveling a lot for Star Wars next year because of like everything that's coming out. So I'm like, I mean, cons and stuff is different, but like not having a celebration is one thing that I'm like, okay, I can just like I don't have to worry about news. I can just like whatever comes out, and I can do it from the sanctity of my own office.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun at Celebration, so I was really hoping there would be one next year, but I understand why they're waiting the 2 years to have it in
Yeah.
2027, especially with the big anniversary of A New Hope and all of the things that I think that they're planning to do, especially maybe with the George Lucas Museum, have like I think the panel potential at Celebration in 2 years is going to be insane.
Yeah.
So, as much as I would love one, I'm glad that they're waiting because I feel like they're going to put so much more into that one than if they had to like break it up between the 2 years. And plus,
Yeah.
I also don't want to do like a big like I mean, granted, I don't have to fly 13 hours to go to LA, but like it's nice not to have to like travel to go to one next year. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the big thing. The only thing I'm not looking forward to about it being in LA is that it's in LA because it's going to be so packed. So I'm like if they make it 5 days, I wouldn't be surprised because it is going to be a jam-packed celebration next year, 2 years, 2027.
2 years. Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean, they may extend it, but I think they announced it's just 4 days. Like I think it's April 1st through the 4th, but I mean, I think that was just tentative. They may kind of
Yeah,
make it
I
a little bit
just
longer. I don't know.
it's going to be absolutely bonkers the amount of people who are going to be there for and I mean like thinking about just the creators who traveled to Japan this year, like that's literally everybody else who didn't travel to Japan who are like, oh, I'm waiting for it to come back to the States, who are going to make it to the States this year. And it's in LA. Like that's like having it in New York. Like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest LA person, but I will go out to LA. I don't think I need to spend like the whole week prior in LA like I did for
No.
Japan. I think I can just go up maybe like a day or two before and
Yeah.
then do celebration, then go home. But I mean, I'm not like overjoyed that it's in LA. It is what it is kind of thing. But I think with it coming back to the States, it gives more people the ability to go because I think traveling overseas, going out of the country to go to celebration is tough. But I know a ton of people that are like, as soon as it comes back to the States, that's it, like game on. So
Yeah. That's what
I
I've
know
said
it's
for
gonna
the
be
last
busy.
5 years because it was in London before, right?
Yep.
And then before that it was Orlando.
Um, I think they did Anaheim,
Oh, it
London,
was
and then
Anaheim, yeah.
Japan.
So, but, like, that was I mean, that was before I was, like I think I was in college for that, I don't remember. But, like, I'm very much one of those people who's like, "Once it's back in the States, I'm going." Especially now as, like, a Star Wars creator, I'm like, I
Hmm.
kinda feel like I have to go. So I'm excited to. I was bummed that it's because it's the 50th for A New Hope, they didn't have it in Denver because Denver was Celebration 1, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, A New Hope, they're bringing A New Hope back." It's like, we're starting from scratch. I would've killed for it to be in Denver because I literally just moved here. So I was secretly hoping that like, hey, maybe they'll do that, but eventually they'll bring it back to Denver. I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, I just think with does Denver have the space to do a celebration? Like I know that initially the first one it probably wasn't as big, but I know celebration has grown so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know Denver too well, so I can't really speak to that, but I just wonder if like maybe Denver doesn't have the capacity to hold like maybe the convention centers. I don't know. Honestly, I don't
So
know. That's just
I don't know, like this is just me guessing based on the scale of celebration. They have Fan Expo Denver here every year at the convention center here, and that convention center is while Fan Expo Denver was going on, they were also running another convention during the same time. So if they opened up the entire hall for just that, I'm sure they could make it fit in that convention center. They've also got like tons of like theaters and halls. And I mean, like, I know at New York Comic Con, they have everything kind of spread out between the Javits Center is the main area, but for like panels and stuff, you got to walk 2 blocks up to go to some other place to like go see panels and go see announcements and then like after party stuff. It's always like at a different building, like separated around New York. So, I mean, it's all kind of in the same area around the Javits Center, but with the Javits Center being that main hub. But I as somebody who lives in Denver and wants to selfishly have it back in Denver and not have to travel for Star Wars Celebration, I think they could make it work.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think it would be cool for them to bring it back to Denver. I mean, I think that would have been cool. I think you have a good point with it being the first celebration, maybe bringing it back for the 50th anniversary. It does make sense. LA, I think a lot of people were confused about LA, but it is what it is. That's where it is. But maybe a future celebration will be in Denver. Who knows?
Maybe what 2029, because that would be 20 years since 1999, which was the first year for Celebration. So maybe.
Maybe. One can hope. One can
Yeah.
hope. But you did send me some pictures of your collection, and we can see a decent amount of it behind you, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it seems like you collect a lot of different things from pins, lightsabers, books. You've got pops, helmets.
Yeah.
Like you collect quite a lot of stuff. What really got you into collecting? Was it just kind of having those things that you had as a kid, or a lot of the stuff that you have? Because I know with me personally, I got rid of a lot of the Lego sets that I had when I was younger, and now getting back into collecting, I'm trying to like reclaim those. And I know that's similar for some people, but I know others have all the stuff that they had when they were younger and they display it all. So where does your collection kind of fall?
It's all over the place. I mean, you can kind of see it's a smorgasbord of stuff from when I was a kid to like I mean, talking about Lego again, that's kind of where my collecting started was Lego sets and specifically minifigs of like me getting like one of the first Star Wars things ever I owned was the 1999 Luke's land speeder with Luke and Obi-Wan and I believe it comes with a 3PO. I don't wow, I'm a bad fan for not knowing the other figure in it. It might be just Luke and Obi-Wan. But it's like it's a mini set. It's one of that first wave. On that top shelf of the white bookshelf, that is most of the first 1999 line wave. That was just like my own side thing of like I want the full original line of Lego stuff. But then it's also just sets that I've collected over the years off to the I'm trying to think of how it would be in that picture. Off to like the right, I would say. On this back wall here, it's the only thing that's on this wall other than a bunch of equipment and soundboard stuff. But like, I have a case of all of I mean, most of my minifigures that I've collected over the years, and I would say 70% of them are from when I was a kid that are in this case. So that I still have from when I was a kid. I pretty much I would say pretty much all of them I have not gotten rid of. Outside of like trading with my friends because that's truly where it started of like my collecting was me and my buddy Chase who does Lego content as well. He goes by Mythosaur Bricks. But like him and like the kids in the neighborhood and everybody on the street of like trading those minifigs back and forth of like who do you have? Okay, it was like Pokemon cards. Um, I have the not Cloud City Boba Fett, but the first Boba Fett tattooed on my leg, the OG Boba Fett, because me and my buddy Chase and his brothers would trade everything that we had to have that Boba Fett. And it got to the point where the torso is cracked, but we didn't care. It was the only Boba Fett we had. So we would trade it back and forth. And in our for us, we've always called it floppy arm Boba Fett because the torso being cracked, it makes one arm just like when you hold it, the arm just spins without the drag of a regular minifig. So it's just like flopping around. But I've got that tattooed on my leg. So like I would say my hoarding started from Lego stuff, but like this is all over the place, dude. Like I love comics, I love art. I'm a big fan of posters and like specific posters that you can't really just get at like a Walmart or a Target. So, like that Luke poster from Celebration, that's one of my favorites. I love the Ahsoka poster. You can get that now, but that's from when Ahsoka from that episode being released. Shout out to Retney's Holocron. Him and his partner went and she got one and he was like, "Hey, do you want this?" Obviously she doesn't. I was like, "Thank God you went." So he sent me that. a bunch of stuff. Like there's so much stuff that other people have given me too that I've just been collecting as like when you're as vocal about Star Wars as like we are, when anybody's like, "Oh, what should we get them as a gift?" People are like, "Oh, they like Star Wars." So like there was that 3-year period where people were just like, "Oh, here's a Grogu thing." But like I would say most of my collection is gifts from other people or just cool stuff that I've always wanted or like from when I was a kid or like stuff that I had when I was a kid that I had to refill, but like I would say my favorite stuff is either the stuff that's really old like the books and the archive stuff or like I love all the artwork like the paintings that in that back corner behind the white bookshelf. That's a painting from my buddy Chris, he's done all my tattoos. But that's a one of one painting of Japanese style Savage's head and Maul's head, and then Palpatine's saber is in the corner. He gifted me the sand trooper that's in the corner over there, but there's also two other pieces that go with it where it's that Japanese traditional style, and it's sand trooper, and then there's also a Boba Fett like wrapped in flames, and there's also a Vader like in a volcano. The piece right there with Maul, that is a piece I had commissioned by a family member of mine who does insane artwork commissions, Lucia. And that's Maul, specifically the Maul that Sam Witwer voices, playing a tabletop RPG game with Force Unleashed 2 Star Killer with Palpatine as the game master or dungeon master. And then on, you can't see it in this picture because I'm awful at taking photos and this is incredibly low res. But on the table, there's a bunch of D&D stuff and like RPG Star Wars stuff, but all of the like the figurines that are on the table add up to be the formula for what Sam Witwer said was the formula to make Star Killer. So Luke, Maul, 2 parts Han Solo, and then 1 part Indiana Jones. Like he always says, there is a difference. That are all kind of right there. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a thing that I wouldn't collect. I just like cool stuff.
Yeah, I my collection is such like a hodgepodge of things, and
Yeah,
there's always something new that I'm like, oh my god! Like recently, I've really gotten into like artwork and collecting posters and things like that, especially from
yeah.
Celebration. That was like a huge one, and I know you just got the Clone Wars, the 20th anniversary
Yeah, I'm so
poster.
thankful to Eric from the Everglades 501st Division because for some reason that popped up on my Facebook Marketplace here in Denver and he was selling it from Celebration and I didn't even know he was a Star Wars fan. I just knew, I mean, obviously he was a Star Wars fan if he had that from Celebration. So I once I saw it, I bought it immediately because I was like I need this. And then I found out that he's in the 501st and he's some insane kits. So shout out to Eric from the Everglades division back in the home state of Florida.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Florida popped up in Denver on Facebook. I mean, listen, I guess Facebook Marketplace is very versatile, but
I guess I mean I'm just happy that it popped up for me and not somebody else before I was able to buy it.
yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite posters. Honestly, probably one of my favorite panels from Celebration.
Insane.
But just the artwork, posters, obviously Funko was like a big one for me. Lego. I've got a couple lightsabers. I have a ton of comics. Now I'm starting to read more books because I just want to kind of expand my knowledge of just the universe itself. Like
Yeah,
even if the stories aren't canon and like, they're probably never going to be canon, it's still Star Wars and like I love reading them. So I've very much gotten into books, like obviously cards, like my collection is very much just a hodgepodge of things that I love, and it's all Star Wars. So I think
yeah,
that's just what makes it unique.
yeah. It's all over the place. I mean, truly, if it's Star Wars, I'm 9 times out of 10 it's going to be something that I want. So like, I burn a hole in my wallet when it comes to anything with the Star Wars logo on it.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But that was pretty much all your collection. I know you have your cool jacket too that you just started working on. Maybe not just started. It's you've had it for a
It
while
was
now,
right before October of last year. So almost a year now.
almost a year.
I've had the jacket.
Yeah,
So
and you
now
had
it's
that
like
at
an extra
Rebelstone.
10 pounds that I have to carry around with me at conventions. I kind of dug myself my own grave, but it's so much fun because everything on there is I would say 99% of it was made from another creator. So I get to be a billboard for people who I'm friends with, but people who also have like Etsy shops. And oh, I get to walk around and people are like, oh, where'd you get that one? And if they have the booth at the con, I get to be like, oh, that's from Punch It Chewy Press, like, and direct them over there. So it's cool that I can be a billboard for those creators who are insanely talented and definitely more talented than I am when it comes to that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, I actually got to see it in person at Rebel Scum Con, and it's very impressive. I'm sure it's heavy as hell, but it looks
Yeah,
really, really cool.
I'm probably gonna need a second one eventually, but a group of them. I'm like, if I get to the point where like I have enough patches, I might just do one full patch and one full pins, and that way just keep them separate. But as of right now, it's kind of a just like my collection, a big smorgasbord of everything. So
That's pretty cool. But those were the pictures of your collection that you sent me, and we definitely can see a decent amount of it behind you.
right.
But my second to last question before we kind of wrap up is, what is your favorite piece in your collection?
Oh, um, I have a lot of favorite stuff. I mean, like I said, that painting that my buddy Chris did is incredible. That like nobody else has that. I'm literally the only person who has that. So I'm like, that's a favorite thing. That mall print that my family member Lucia made is insane. I mean, the VHS box set. I mean, this is literally like where my love of Star Wars started. I have the floppy arm Boba Fett that I talked about in that case. Maybe stuff that I haven't yapped about yet. I'm a huge Ralph McQuarrie fan. So the archive book that came out a while ago, I finally was able to get last year for Christmas. So I've got the full Ralph McQuarrie Star Wars archives. I know they're making the Doug Chang one. I'm a huge Doug Chang fan, so I'm waiting for that one to come out as well. And then just stuff from other people, like I said about that pin jacket, like it's all stuff that like other people have made, and like it's cool now that I'm well, maybe it's not cool for everybody else because I don't shut up about it, but like I'm so vocal about the things that I like, and I'm so vocal about Star Wars, and I'm so vocal about the things that I'm passionate about within Star Wars that like people know me. So like if I'm ever look, me and Grayson and Connor and Seth from Beyond the Dune Sea and Tony and a bunch of other people, like we're so big on giving gifts when we see each other that like 9 times out of 10, if we know, like at Rebel ScumCon, I had a box for Grayson. He had a box for me. He came here for Denver Fan Expo. He flew stuff out. Like I'm gonna have stuff for him at LA Comic Con. Like we are so big on gifts that like now we know what other people like. So my favorite, like this episode 1 poster is from Connor and Seth from Beyond the Dune Sea, and that's like they were nice enough because they had found one on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, I am incredibly jealous of you that they had one and put it on set. So somehow they found a second one. I don't know what's going on by them and from out beyond the Dune Sea, but they found another one and they just shipped it to me without telling me, and I was just like, that's so cool. And like Grayson's got me stuff where like he got me the special edition of Heir to the Empire when we were at Fan Expo, and he got it signed by Timothy Zahn, and I didn't know, and he gave it to me, and like there's just I would say my favorite stuff is the stuff that I'm lucky enough to get from my friends.
Well, I think that's the cool part about doing content and kind of being on other people's podcasts, them coming on yours. Like you build
Yeah,
a sense of friendship and community. And I think when people ask me, they're like, "Why do you do it?" And I'm like, "It's the community, the relationships that you build through your love of Star Wars that you never would have had if you never got into making content or weren't vocal about your love of
yeah,
Star Wars. You would have never found these people. I mean, I'm sure maybe if you were watching like YouTube in your room or whatever, but
yeah,
putting yourself out there because of your love of Star Wars, you build this community, you make these friendships with people that you maybe meet once every year or so like that. Like I mean, there's a few people that are in Florida that we see at like MegaCon and this and that, but there's people
yeah,
all over the states, the world that you see on occasion, but you just have this like everlasting friendship with them because of your love of Star Wars. So I think
yeah,
the friendships that you make out of it, the community that you build, one of the best parts for sure.
yeah. I think that's. I mean, I say the favorite parts of my collection are the stuff from my friends and family members who have gifted me stuff. But I'd say that's my favorite part of Star Wars is that I am a part of this community and that it look, is everybody nice all the time? No, but I think that's just part of it when it comes to any fandom. I mean, Star Wars is truly its own genre when it comes to film and television and media and comics and whatever and books, whatever you want to do, merchandise. Oh my gosh, like it's just it's so much bigger than all of us, but that we are all a part of it and that we can all like make friends with people because of it. Like, I mean, one of my best friends, Grayson, I do the podcast with Determined Focus with him, and it's not because we were like, "Hey, let's do a podcast together," and then we became friends. We were friends for what, a year and a half, 2 years before that, and I've talked to him every day since. So like, that's I'm thankful for what Star Wars has given me.
Absolutely. And my last question before we wrap up is, since this is a collecting based podcast, if you could give one piece of advice to other collectors out there, what would it be?
Uh, a barter. If you're at a convention and you're at a table, everything has a price, but everything has a lower price. So don't be afraid to barter. If it's eBay or Facebook Marketplace and somebody says something's $20, don't be afraid to send, hey, would you take 15? Like, just it's fine. I'm not telling you to screw anybody over, but I'm also like, we all want a lot of Star Wars stuff a lot of times when it comes to collecting. I would also say just do your research. Like, there's so much stuff that I have found because I've been like just Googling Ralph McQuarrie merchandise and stuff that I found where I'm like, oh, it's a patch from Star Wars Celebration 1, or like it's a patch from when Empire came out, but it was exclusive to the crew. Like, my collecting uh icon is Star Wars thrifting. I don't know if you know who that is, but their Instagram, she is the goat at she basically has a Rancho Obi-Wan in her house. It is the coolest collection I've ever seen of banners, of promotional items, of stuff that you got at movie theaters, of stuff that was on subways that were like uh, cardboard pieces, standees, stuff that was only exclusive to crew. Like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, that's my, because it tells a story in your collection. So I would say do your research and um, just have fun. Don't be like, oh, it's new Lego is coming out. I need this because it's Lego. Like, d- get whatever you like. That's what I would say if it had to boil down to something. Whatever it is, get what you like.
No, that's a very valid advice, and I appreciate you so much for coming on. It was truly a pleasure getting to talk to you, also meet you in person at Rebel ScumCon
Yeah,
finally. So it's definitely been a pleasure having you on, getting to talk to you a little bit more about kind of your love of Star Wars, where it originated, your collection, because you do have a very expansive collection, probably the most expansive that I've seen so
it's
far.
just a bunch of nonsense, honestly.
No, but
Tony's is
it's
big though.
awesome.
Tony's is
Tony's is
crazy.
big. Yeah, it is.
Tony's is crazy because his stuff, like, I would say like a fourth of his stuff isn't even on camera. It's just on shelves in his closet. Like,
Yeah.
Tony's got crazy stuff.
He does, he does. And I know, like, I need to have him back on because I know now he's more into the cards and stuff, so I wanna
Yeah,
see some of the other crazy cards that he's gotten, but I
he's
did
the
have him
king
on,
of
like, quite a
whatnot.
while. Yeah, he is the king of whatnot. But before we jump off, can you tell people one more time where they can find you at, and if you have anything upcoming that you want them to be on the lookout for?
I do a podcast, a weekly podcast that's got a live show called Determined Focus. I'm one half of that podcast with my co-host Grayson at Mortis FM. If you're going to follow anything, please follow Determined Focus on Instagram and go follow Grayson on Instagram as well as subscribing to him on YouTube. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, if you just need one more person yapping about Star Wars on the internet, I'm Will. I'm Will of the Force. You can find me pretty much anywhere as that. But Determined Focus, follow Grayson on Instagram. Those are the two that I say.
Absolutely, and all of your links, you, Grayson, the podcast, all of it's gonna be down below, so make
Cool.
sure to go check them out and give them a subscribe or a follow wherever it be. But again, I appreciate you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to Look, the reason why I started making content was to yap about Star Wars, so I appreciate you giving me the platform to chew your ear off a little bit talking about Star Wars. It's I could talk for days about it, so I appreciate you having me on, and
Yeah,
you do great stuff. All the guests you've had on, it sick, great group of guests too. So I appreciate you allowing me to be in that list.
absolutely. Truly a pleasure. And I will see everybody next episode. Bye, guys.